The hell? I like this song. And when I am Sarah, aka Spirit Mother, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube. Spirit Teaches the Going with Yourself on TikTok 1974 Nine Souls. And I'm also live on my Facebook. If you're new to my channel, I always recommend, suggest, and really encourage you to read the description on my YouTube channel, Spirit Teaching the Going with Yourself, to get a better understanding of what it is that I do bring over on my channel. I talk about a lot of different things. I use my own life experiences also to bring things forward with regards to understanding, because I myself have gone through a lot of the stuff that I bring forward. Okay, and today, like I talk a lot. Okay? That's what I do. I don't get paid to do it, but I find it's part of what I'm here to do. Okay, and I've been seeing a lot about abortion and transgender. Okay, so today it's about abortion and transgender and understanding. Okay, because right now with abortion and transgender, there's a lot of a lot of up in the air in it. With regards to it, there's a lot of conflict with regards to it. Okay, I really like this song because my son, my youngest son, told me that my grandson, he likes it. And I have a video of him and he's just dancing to it. He's like one. So it's like, did he sing more? You're so good away. And it wasn't until I heard that song through him. So this is for him. This song's for him. Dance, little man. So I'm talking about abortion and transgender, as I said, is a big topic, not like even in schools, okay? And there are adults that are involving children with this topic, which, you know, you speak to them when they're of age, okay? My, I got pregnant at the age of 14 and a half, okay? It was grade 7, and right around the time that they started teaching about sex education. Okay. I didn't know anything about it prior to that because there was a time when, okay, sometimes these things do lie on the parents, because some younger girls and boys will go to the parents and say, look, hey, I'm feeling like I'm about ready to be sexually active, what have you. And I did. I went to my mom, and her reply was, it was just a quick reply, only, excuse the term, only forged on birth control. And that's exactly what she said to me. People in my family, you can say, no, you didn't see that at all. Yes, she did. Okay. It was kind of a discouraging to have your child not want to have sex or something. I don't know what it was. And I said about my oldest sister, and she said, well, she needed it for her menstrual cycle. The reason why I went to my mom and asked her about birth control was because when I was 13, I was babysitting, and the roommate of the father's baby, he came home early from work, and he was 21, and he took me down to June. To this day, I still remember that week. And I remember seeing blood. Right? Now, someone would say, like, if I got pregnant, you would try telling me, well, you should have the child, because that's what you believe, because you believe that a child starts life at the time of conception, okay? And then there's ones that will say, Charlie Kirk, he has said one time that the woman don't mind having the orgasm. Charlie Kirk, did you, like, I know you're deceased, but you can hear in spirit, did you fucking do the research to find out that a woman only ovulates once a month? one egg, sometimes a few, but usually just once a month. But a man can make 5 babies in one night if he screws 5 girls, right? So after that happened, I told I told my friends, okay? I didn't tell my mom. My mom just thought, thought I was on my menstrual cycle because let's see, okay, certain affiliations, certain groups will think that from the time of puberty, when you hit puberty as a young girl, then you are able to have menstrual sex because you went through puberty. You had a period. I was fucking 11 years old when I had my period. Any person that figures that an 11-year-old should conceive a child, like that's like because the chances of that young girl dying are very high, right? Because she's not even fully developed. I got lucky when I was 14 and a half. That was a consensual. And I told my parents when we found out that I wasn't having an abortion, and they were like, no. Okay? Someone's in here laughing, and I can feel that, and you can you're a fucking ignorant person. And some of you may even be female because, some females actually find that really fucking hilarious. There's the women, and they're on I don't know what fucking side they're on, but they're saying that, people, you should have your baby. If you're 11, you should have the baby. Even if you're raped. Now, bring this forward because I know women, I know women who had abortion. They went and they had an abortion. It was their choice. One even come and one asked me if I was gonna like not be their friend anymore, or if I was gonna look down at them. No, because people will say that abortion is in the Bible, that it is against the Bible. It is against God to have an abortion, which is actually not in the Bible. There's actually paragraphs, but it doesn't say anything about abortion being wrong. It's your interpretation of how it's perceived. You say it's life. So you want an 11-year-old who's gone through puberty to have a baby. They're a baby themselves still. And you'll say, well, the shouldn't have pregnant. Really? Maybe the adult or the grown-ass person who impregnated that child to rape or what had molestation or what have you. You should be the one responsible, right? Especially if that child dies, correct? But you wouldn't care because you're only concerned about the fetus. I know another woman that come to me, and it was her choice. I talked with her. It's about the person going through and analyzing it themselves. You may not agree with an abortion. It's not your body. And a man, it's easier for a man to walk away from a pregnancy than it is a woman because a man can have a one-night stand and go away. But you'll blame it on the woman, Charlie Kirk? Well, she had the orgasm. Dude, obviously the dude did too, and he produces the fuck of a lot more sperm. And a woman, as I said, only ovulates once a month. Okay. Just one sec. You know, I understand where people are coming from with regards to having an abortion, right? And I understand where they're saying, well, people are just like, oh, I'll just go get an abortion. If I get pregnant, I'll just go get an abortion. How about before getting pregnant, you take the proper steps? Okay. Some people do. You use a condom can break. Okay. A woman can be on birth control. Miss one or two birth controls, you have a chance of getting pregnant. This one even said, I watched one part where they said about an IUD. I used birth control after I had my oldest. I got pregnant because I missed pills. But my body aborted it because I am Rh negative. So my blood and the baby's blood mixed and the baby was positive. So my body aborted it. Are you going to say that it being my body that aborted it? Will you say that I murdered my child because my blood type did not agree with it? I was 3 months along when my body decided to reject the baby. Twice. I knew another girl, okay? Actually, there was a couple of them where they were pregnant. They didn't want to go for an abortion because of how people felt and what happened. They didn't want the baby. You know, some women don't even feel attached to the baby in the womb. So what did they do? They threw themselves down the stairs to miscarry. So they put themselves in danger. You don't have to like me for saying this, but I'm seeing both sides of things. I'm seeing the part where a woman, like I have a video, okay, where this man is saying that his mother was raped and she gave life to him, and she would look at him and tell him he was an abomination. Do you know when things like that happen, it's not that it's so much directed towards the child. It's that woman is not seeing the child. That woman is actually seeing the face of her rapist. But you don't get that, do you? Of course not. Because you say about the Bible. Now the Matrix is trying to interrupt because nobody really calls. Okay, here it is. How often does a woman ovulate? Females typically ovulate once a month, releasing a single mature egg during their menstrual cycle. So it's actually difficult for a woman to become pregnant. But it's not hard for a man to get a woman pregnant. So to the females and the males that want to blame the woman, go get your fucking heads checked. And to the women, shame on you. This usually happens about 12 to 16 days before the next period starts. So kind of in the middle. because a period happens every 28 days. For average 28-day cycle, ovulation occurs around day 14. One egg. Sometimes a few will get through depending on how fertile the woman is. I was a very fertile woman. My first time having sex, consensual sex, I got pregnant. A year after I gave birth to him, I was pregnant again and had a miscarriage. At 18, was pregnant again at 19. The first miscarriage was twins. Let's put it to you this way. When I went in and they did the ultrasound, well, first they said you miscarried. And I was still bleeding clots. I was actually fucking hemorrhaging and they sent me home. So I went home later that afternoon. I was back into the hospital. They did an ultrasound. Oh, well, okay. You have half a baby, you have a full baby in there and a half a baby. So they did a DNC and they even took the full baby, which, it's possible that the full baby was still alive. That was the first miscarriage. The second miscarriage, I went to a doctor in emergency because she was too hooked on her drugs. She told me to go home because I was going to lose the baby anyways. When I was there to tell her that I needed a Rogram shot, and it would have saved my baby. Now go home. So, hey, I did what she said, only instead of just going home, I went to a dance and I got fucking shit-faced because she said I was going to lose the baby anyway. So I ended up going to the hospital because, I was just squatting at the time. And when I went to the hospital, I had to sign a requisition form because I was hemorrhaging so bad that I had to sign a requisition form giving them permission to do an emergency hysterectomy if they couldn't get the blood stopped and to give me a blood transfusion, which they didn't have my blood there because it's so rare. So, and I can only use my own blood type. I had to sign another requisition form because they were going to have to use plasma blood, fake blood. So please, to you women and you men who fucking think that you know what you're talking about, maybe you should get a fucking clue and go through an experience before you shoot your faces off on what a person should do and shouldn't do. So let's keep reading. Okay. And then it continues 14 days. However, once a month isn't the case for everyone. A frequency can vary due to several factors. Cycle variations. A normal cycle can range from 21 to 35 days. This means the exact day of ovulation changes from person to person and can even shift slightly month to month. Okay. I was a person that, I never knew when my period was coming. So I'd have a lot of period accidents. Too gross for you, man, then go back out. When you're on birth control, it's more consistent. This woman said about an IUD. They called it something else. Okay. I had an IUD. So first off, before I had the IUD, because the IUD was kind of to help with my periods, but after I had the miscarriage in 94, when I had to sign all that requisition, those papers, and prior, the one before that, I didn't have to sign papers. It was just, it was a DNC. Didn't have to sign any papers, except for the surgery. When I was 20, I had a tubal ligation, and that was in 94. 94, no, 95, sorry. It was after I had the last miscarriage. And then a few years later, I started having really bad cramps. I ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks, trying to figure out what was creating my pain. Well, it was because I had eggs getting through, and it was creating pain. Because it wasn't until 2001 that I found out, because I only consented to my tubes just being tied, not burned, cut, and tied. But they burned, cut, and tied. But through that, an egg got through. So I would have ended up with probably, well, a tubal pregnancy. Maybe I did have a tubal pregnancy. And that's why it was so painful, because my body miscarried it. So I had an IUD. They had to get that out of me because it was cutting into my cervix. So, hey, why is it that the woman is always the one expected to put her health at risk? Because men cannot keep their peckers in their pants. Why doesn't, I'm not saying for a man to go and get a vasectomy. But men will expect the woman to get a tubal ligation or be the one responsible, always using the contraceptives or the stuff that does put their health at risk, whether you want to or not. So why is it that a man, oh, right, because they did do a trial to find out how a man's body would react to a birth control, but because they had a few side effects, oh, well, we can't do that to the man. No, but you can cut a fucking woman open. You can make her take pills that fucking gives her all kinds of fucking stress and anxiety and makes her go fucking loopy. And then you wonder why. So it's okay for women to go through the side effects. But then the men say, oh, we're powerful, we're big. Are you really? You can't even fucking handle a few side effects from a child birth control. But you expect a woman to be the one in control of the birth control and be in control of her orgasms. According to this, you have a period, not because of an orgasm, the man, mostly because of an orgasm. But you'll tell me I'm fucking stupid, right? Let's use the word women do come, but the eggs don't come with the cum. Go ejaculate, man. No. I just dislike men and women who believe that they can make the decision for somebody else when they've not been in this situation themselves. Because you say, oh, well, we've been taught it, and it says it in the Bible. Actually, no, it doesn't. It's how you interpret it. I could interpret the Bible a whole other fucking way. But you would tell me it was blasphemy because that's not what you were told in your church or by your pastor. So with abortion, you bring religion into it. Pregnancy is not about fucking religion. And traditional marriages was never about the woman being the man's bitch. Certo pure che motta. There are women who believe the traditional wives, you gotta mummy your husband, right? I thought your husband fucking grew up before he left mom. Oh, right. Mummy needed to feel needed, so she never allowed her children to grow up. My youngest son was helping with dishes at the age of 7 and 8. He was doing his own fucking laundry by the time he was 12 because I was done picking up after him because I would do his laundry, take it to his room and tell him put it away, and it would all end up on the fucking floor. So we never knew what was dirty and what was clean. So hey, you want to do that? Pick up that. That's what a mother does. A mother teaches her child how to be independent and take care of themselves. A father is to teach the child how to defend themselves, to protect themselves. A mother can do it too. And people, women, men, will say, well, what about the men say? Half the time, women are fucking scared shitless to tell a man that she's pregnant because it's, oh, well, it's not my kid. It's not my. I'll be honest, okay? You know, God love him. I mean, it would have it freaked him out when he found out that I was pregnant at 14 and a half, and he was had just only turned 18. So he told me, no, like it can't be his kid because he's sterile. I got lucky that I had that my parents supported, like they adopted. Even on that, there's parts of me that regrets the adoption. I regret not keeping it myself. Who are raped, and if they want an abortion, I do understand that because when you're going through the pregnancy to them, it is a constant reminder of what happened. And if they give birth to that child and they keep, that is the constant reminder of the face of the man who raped them. So it's because of people who say abortion, abortion. Oh, you're murdering, you're murdering. No, they're not. They're making a decision. Maybe, they're not being informed properly, which that is true. That was the thing Charlie Kirk said. He was right about that. They're not informed properly. I've even questioned, hey, Charlie Kirk a lot of abortion and blames women a lot for pregnancy. Was he a baby of rape and an abortion that didn't work? So the man that was upset and said, should I have been aborted? No, but we don't know the reasoning behind it. But what I just explained to you with regards to that is the part that you don't understand. No ovulation. Some months might pass without ovulation, called anovulatory cycles. Can't pronounce that right. Due to stress, illness, weight changes, or conditions like PCOS. Do you know how much? I know somebody that they kept trying and trying and trying because they wanted to be healthy. But because they were trying so hard and they were stressed out by it, they couldn't conceive. So I told them, stop trying. And once they stopped trying to conceive, they became pregnant. Multiple eggs versus multiple ovulations. Usually only one egg is released per cycle, while a single ovary releases an egg each month. Some women naturally experience hyperovulation, where the ovaries release two or more eggs simultaneously, which can result in fraternal twins. I already said, sometimes it's being very fertile. So, Charlie Kirk, where did you get your information from? I know you're deceased now, but you can hear me in spirit. And all your little followers. Do you not think for yourself? Do you not have the ability to look into something and actually look deeper and actually talk to the people that had the abortions? Yes, there are some women who had like abortions. And it's just something that's natural to them. But see, what people who are against abortion don't realize is it's that person's decision, right? And they're the ones that live with the decision. You don't even know. They could be your fucking sister who went and you're against it, but your sister could have went for an abortion and you don't even have a fucking no clue about it. And she still goes along with you. Because I even looked into your political people. The very ones who want to make it illegal for abortions, who actually their mistresses were made to have abortions or their wives had abortions. And those are the very people, we call those hypocrites. Ito po nakita mo sa paraisip ito rin yung mo ba? Okay. To figure out each timing, okay, you calculate your ovulation. Okay. Okay, so I looked up, when does a baby become a living being? Biologically, a developing human is alive from the moment of conception. As the fertilized egg consists of living cells with unique DNA. However, differing when a fetus is considered a baby or a legal person varies depending on whether you are looking at medical, legal, or just philosophical perceptions. Biologically, the embryo fetus is alive from conception, growing and responding to stimulation. But when I looked it up earlier, saying that they don't really start feeling it after about 20 weeks. Medically, a fetus is typically considered visible, compatible with surviving outside the womb with medical assistance around 24 weeks of gestation. I was in the phone just the other day. I think it might have been the other day. And there was this woman in there, younger one. And I seen her baby, and her baby was premature. Her baby weighed 1 pound. Was born. My grandfather weighed 1 pound when he was born, and they called them butterbox babies because they had to put them next to the stove. So 1 pound baby, they get about like that. Put on feeding tubes. They get help to breathe because they're fully developed, correct? So they can't breathe on their own. They can't feed on their own. They're fed intravenously. They can't keep their own body temperature. They have to be put in an incubator. Do I agree with abortion? I agree with abortions for certain reasons, if the person chooses to do so. But I would recommend other alternatives. But I can see where someone with rape would not want to continue. And then some, there was one woman, she's against abortions, but she says, well, take the morning off. But I thought sometime conception. So even if you take, according to that, like, even if you take the morning after pill, you're murdering the child, right? But they're actually not murdering the child. That's just a word that gets put out there and thrown around and keeps you in a low vibration and feeling like you did something wrong and you need to be away. That's not a safe decision. That's a program. After you're so far along, should you be having abortions? No. But some women aren't even attached to the baby through the whole pregnancy and sometimes even into and after the birth. They feel like they don't have that attachment. They feel disconnected from the child. Sometimes women will even feel like that's not my baby. But that's the thing that you people that want to get out there and shame people for with regards to abortions because maybe they don't agree with the way you call people murderers. You same people will condone a genocide or you will condone war because you say you're pro-life. How the fuck is that pro-life? That's a living being who actually is experiencing it. And you'll say, well, they experience it if they're being like taken out of the womb through suction or the DNC or what have you. DNCs, they'll go in and they'll scrape your uterus, which it causes problems. So hey, women can get pregnant. It has and so why is it that Charlie Kirk would say that women should, be more cautious of their orgasms? Dude, I don't even think your kids are your kids. And why don't I think that? Because the way you talk about women, and like I said, any woman that would stand up to another woman and tell her she was a murderer because she had an abortion for reasons that you don't know for is none of your business. Like I said, it could even be your sister. Maybe your mom had an abortion before you were born, and she just had an abortion. So I looked up, how often does a man produce sperm? Sperm production is a continuous process that occurs 24 hours a day, generating roughly 1,500 sperm every second. Holy snapping fuck, man. Bang, 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 bang. Guess what? Bang, 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 bang. Hey, fucking Solomon. They call women whores. Ito po na kiyang mo totales ni Ara tuwing mo ay tare. Ito po rin. Production timeline. Constant replenishment. Your body constantly produces millions of sperms every day. There is no pause or total depletion of supply, and this process continues from puberty throughout a man's life. So women go through menopause, women stop producing eggs. Men could be fucking, shriveled up and they're still producing eggs. Unless they're still, but it says men, you can produce until you die. But somehow you believe that women is the fucking problem here. Well, we're not procreating fast enough for you, so you have the next woman to go screw and make more babies, and then say, "Oh, well, you aborted. It's murder." How many? Like seriously, a man can walk off. Women can walk off after they have a baby. They can abort. Or they can have an abortion. But women always go through the pain, and men go through nothing. Some men, they'll experience postpartum, but they can always walk out the door because it's the woman that feeds the baby. Some men don't even fucking change the diaper until all the brown goopy shit is gone. And you expect women, what they do with your children, you expect them to do that with you. But many women are afraid to even tell the male that they're pregnant because, if the man didn't want the baby, well, blame the woman, right? Because that's what you're doing. So the menstruation cycle, well, you make sperm every day to complete the menstruation cycle. Spermatogenesis takes about 2 to 2.5 months. Ultimately, hey, to the transgender community that men are saying they're having their periods, maybe that's what you experience. Climb the ladder! There's still out! Honey, come on, I don't know what you say. I'm not being rude, and I got nothing against transgender. Just changing your sexual orientation, like your sexual orientation, cutting off your penis or stitch, like I was going to say stitching up your vagina. There is a case where a man can actually, what was it? It was one of the lords. He had them insert female ovaries into it. I don't think he could see. What was it? It was talking about, I haven't. Optimal ejaculation frequency, because sperm continuously regenerates. Frequent ejaculation every 2 to 3 days typically keeps sperm volume and sperm count optimized for conception. So, hey, if you're a man and you want your wife to have a baby, but you have sperm problems, oh, right. In some of your biblical texts, it is considered the to ejaculate. It's impure and it's dirty. My channel is not for everyone. I'll make you laugh. I'll make you cry. I'll piss you off. You want to punch me upside my head. But hey, keep your hands to yourself. By all means, bring it energetically. Love me, hate me, like me, loathe me. But look into what I say instead of fucking shitting on me and trying to tell me that I'm a bad person because I believe that an abortion is a choice. And like I said, people say we can't be pro-life, pro-choice. Fuck, we can't. I'm pro-life, but I also believe that it's someone's body, it's their choice. If you're in a relationship with someone before you have an abortion, maybe you should talk about it. It's the decision you're making together. But sometimes those men aren't around because you'll probably find out that many pregnancies are due to one night stands. But you'll say that way they were being promiscuous. Maybe they only did it once. Because I watched a thing where it said, with this being able to get an abortion, you're saying these are young girls saying this, that you're causing people, like it's saying it's okay to be promiscuous. Do you know where most promiscuity comes from? It comes from the very thing that you defend and say that a woman shouldn't have an. That's where my potentiality, because I was of the mentality that, hey, because, I was so many years treated like that's all I was. I even had a guy that I was dating and I was leaning up against him and he took my shirt and lifted it right up in front of the guys. Did a video. And, fuck knows, maybe it's out there circulating because some people had a good laugh over it. Pretty sad for those. I had just turned 18 and it's a bunch of grown ups. Just saying. So I guess you could say, oh, I've heard in my own porno movie that I didn't even know I was in because I didn't even know that he was recording. And he didn't take. Must be some sexy in a porno movie having sex with a pregnant woman, a teenager at that, who was 18. But it was a relationship, but I still didn't know that it was being recorded. But because I bring this stuff forward, nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody wants to, which is fine. Because if that's the type of person you are, then I'd rather you not. How lifestyle affects your sperm. Because the regeneration cycle takes about 74 days. Any changes you make to your diet, exercise, or habits take about 2 to 3 months to show up in your sperm count and quality. Sperm, exercise. See, maybe it's not all about the chemicals and everything like that, the things that's the clinician. Maybe it's because more and more people are becoming more lazy, stressed, full of anxiety, depression. Surrounding the new classes mental health issues, but your spirit is getting so bad that it's not functioning properly. So if people's health change, to the ones that say they want, like, you need more people, excuse me, more and more babies. Well, how about you help out in order for that to happen? First off, people don't want babies a lot of the time right now because the world is in chaos. People are getting kicked out of their homes. People are starving. People are taking their own lives because of the state of the world. And those ones that get out there and tell people, work, you have no goddamn fucking idea why those people aren't working. Yes, maybe some of them, it is because they're lazy. But others, the majority of them, maybe it's not because they're lazy. Maybe it's because they got something fucking going on that you don't fucking know about. Maybe they don't want to work for the dog. Giusto para que no tarea. There's my alien language again. Yeah. I'm jealous because they don't. Trust me, I don't pick sides. I look at all sides of it. I hear what people are trying to convey. The reason why others don't understand or don't get it is the way it is being brought forward to people. You want to push your ideology on this side wants to push their ideology on this side because nobody wants to fucking agree because they all got their fucking heads stuck up their asses. Oh, this is the devil, this is Satan, oh, this is God. God is the fucking dog. You call it Yahweh. Yahweh is death. Yahweh is the altar of sacrifice. You sacrifice to death to satisfy the dog. Play on words. Oh, you're possessed. That's demonic. Go fuck yourself. And don't tell me I pray to Jesus for you. Che se to può chiedere un motore. And that's another thing. You push something on people, and then you expect them to fucking understand anything. People call me retarded. To me, retarded is more of lacking in an understanding and a concept of what's going on and happening around you, whether you see it one other way or not. It's like an ignorance. You can be ignorant in knowledge and ignorant if you freaking decide you want to in someone's ear. Oh, I don't like your vibes. Oh, good. Go now. So to play. Okay. So now we're going with regards to the trans community. Why did you decide to take the 8 colors and drop it down to 6? And then they said that they dropped it down to 6 to be an even number. Well, 8 even is 4 plus 3 is 8. It's not even. Because even 4 is an even number. 3 isn't. 3 plus 3 might equal 6, but 3 itself is an odd number. The rainbow. It was, and the same as queer. Queer was eccentric. Something not of the norm. But eccentric. So I'm very eccentric. So maybe I'd like to, if you don't understand. Oh wait, they don't understand because it's not brought forward in a polite way It's always in your face. I'm getting in your bathroom. You're not a woman if you're trying to force yourself into a woman's body. You're tapped in. You're tapped into your masculine. Hey, you're going by pronouns, not being rude, but he, she, he. But you wouldn't get offended by that, right? But it would be true, right? You would biologically be a male, but you would identify as a she, right? That's what they used to say. Queer actually went back before people decided that they wanted to class it as their own. The same as the term gay. Gay always meant happy, but you made it a sexual. So let's go back because, people say, oh, well, this trans thing just came out and all that, really? So did trans people exist in Roman times? Well, a specific modern term, transgender, didn't exist. People who lived and identified outside the gender they were assigned at birth obviously existed in Roman times. Ancient Romans didn't use today's clinical labels. Label. Gotta have labels. Holy fuck, aren't you, Paula? Take those, like, shit, man. It's like, did you ever see a car where when you're driving behind it, and all are these stickers and labels and everything like that? It's like a fucking advertisement. So if somebody doesn't like your sticker, some people have the fish symbol of the Christ. Some people have other things that get targeted, right? So people will say, okay, because I've heard people ask this question. Okay, if I was a white man but I identified as a black man, would I be a black man? No. Well, you're a man and you identify as a woman. Or you're a woman and you identify as a man, but you say that because the person's white in color, they can't identify as a black person. Is that part do you hear yourself? Or does it go in one ear and out the other? Because, you can't comprehend what they're trying to convey. And the other side cannot comprehend what you're trying to convey. Because, yes, we all commit mistakes. And sometimes what ends up happening is you absorb the other truth. It's like some people are more in the mind and less in the heart, which the mind is more of the narcissistic. So you see more with the mind, feel with the heart, right? So who is actually looking through the mind? Who is looking through the eye? Is it the masculine or is it the feminine? And like, is your body? Your mind takes on one, but your body takes on the other. How many of you have watched Vampire Diaries where the twins were meant to absorb each other? The Gemini twins. can see Siamese twins where I've seen some where they've had an extra head, but they were functioning using the same body, different heads, mind. Like right there, it just felt like it sounded like a dead. Somebody must be reliving this in dream or going to the dentist. I felt that it was like a cut off my heart just went to its head. People that want to go into the schools and teach this to children, it's not up to you. It's up to the parents to educate themselves if and when it ever arises. Even the question of why they're observing what they're observing in these people. It's up to the parent to understand so they can explain it to the child. But, everybody wants the teachers to teach the kids, right? And then they scream, well, they're not teaching them. Well, neither are you. Because you're not teaching them. It's not about what you're learning in school so much. It's about learning about people in general, understanding each other. But nobody wants to do that because it interferes with their life. Will not understand actually has a bigger impact. But because you don't believe in that stuff, you don't want to hear it. It's not going to go away. It's just going to get in your face more. And once you actually take the time to understand it, then it's not going to be in your face anymore. The more you try to push something uncomfortable away, the more it's going to get in your face. Because that's what you need to work on. Super bread. And I'm talking to the dog. And all those little groupies. I won't say minions because minions are more followers. Groupies are, the ones that are on, you know, they think it's cool. Followers listen more to almost a dictatorship. It's like Peter Pan and his Lost Boys. Only they got a few Wendy's along the way. Super bread. See, the thing is, where did Peter Pan's Lost Boys come from? Home. The system. Because this is what you're throwing in people's faces. You're telling them that they are sinners, that they have sins. Yes, you all do. We all do. Because sins was an abbreviation, like you have ADHD for attention, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADD, which you rotated in a D and like that. So the sins is an abbreviation. When it's said you live under sin, it means that you live under the systems integrated into society. So it's much like a republic. and they continuously create sin. It creates sins through other sins, and then you, know, you create your own sins because they're much like belief systems. Isso tô, nem fica mais. Yeah. What channels the spirit, and those spirits know exactly who you're speaking to and what spirit is speaking through you. Gisatadai is your no come. Okay. Ancient Romans didn't use today's clinical labels, but they had a clear, culturally recognized understanding of gender variant individuals. That's what they call it. Genders and transition. Okay. In Roman times, did people get sex changes? While they did not have access to modern hormone therapies or gender affirming surgery procedures, ancient Romans certainly experimented with gender nonconformity, transitioning social roles, and voluntarily castration. So more along the lines of a true spirit. It didn't mean that they were gay, but I do get confused when the person is a woman and they identify as being a gay man and go with a man. That to me makes you a straight man. But see, that person mentally, it's like that twin. When they look, they see themselves as someone different. You're taking on, it's the same type of idea. It's not that they're gay. Well, let's say not gay, because gay to me is happy. Homosexual, not a bad word. Social rules belong to, okay. Some historical figures and specific religious groups even attempted to transition or alter their bodies to achieve a female state because they knew that the female was going to be the predominant one. Look right now, okay? You have certain things that you're saying within your systems. It's going all over here about where certain individuals are transitioning from men into women to take on certain roles, right? In leadership. That's how you keep the man remaining in leadership, is by transitioning into a female. And that's when you have leadership, you need both. Two, that the ones that actually understand both sides, because they've experienced it or they've lived it themselves. But maybe whichever, it doesn't fucking matter. It's being able to have the masculine understanding and the feminine understanding, so that both sides are being treated equally. But you don't like that one. You always have to feel superior too, and they have to be less than you. Yes, so the boy. So let's see. Okay, right now what you have in your White House. Okay, Donald Trump dislikes when he demonizes females. That's it's called. But some of you ladies will say, "Oh, now," and then some of you 25-year-olds will say, "Yeah, I fuck Donald Trump." You like the shriveling ones, do you? Cristiano Real, para tudo criado. So it's like, okay, it's almost, you say daddy. Wouldn't you be a little creeped out by that phrase, daddy? Who's your daddy? That's a little like, unless it's your dad. Well, so, and I don't believe that Melania really is fond of Donald Trump. Don't think, maybe she's promiscuous. Okay? Maybe she's beautiful. I don't know her personality, but she's got a scowl. It's like a bitch face. I can relate to that because I have my own daughter. Okay? And come to find out, Donald Trump is my cousin from my seventh great Grammy, and which was his second or third birthday. I know it's distant, but hey, we both have roots to Oakland. And then I just heard, I wouldn't be proud to say, it's not about being proud to say I'm related to Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump knows I see who he is. All versions. And, when you can understand the man's dementia, that's what I say, you take the ADD and you got the dad, right? He likes to be called dad. You know why he collects his last place? He's a lost boy himself. Daddy really rejected him and turned him into a monster. And when I say a monster, it's a little boy locked in a man's body, trying to be seen and heard. And he is. And I heard, I got the laughing. Okay. If you look at what Donald Trump exhibits, the behaviors and everything, you take that observation and you look back and you see what the actions would be. Would it be of a child, teenager, puberty, even backwards puberty? Because that can be much like what a dimension, dropping dimensions. Dementia, he's living in multiple dimensions and doesn't know his head from his ass, but is beginning to understand and comprehend some things. Would I go sit? Yep. It's like Satukurikea. Yes, Satukurikea. It's like to dismiss, snub the nose and dismiss. Sometimes it's it's that part of, he got the law sports, but he had to get the Wendy's to take care of his ass. And then he had to go get the Cyrex, the what they perceived to be the mermaids. Do you know that many times when someone is a U-class homosexual, is but it's women want the term, men want the term gay. But I did, I looked into things because I was observing something. And he hated women so much. But never wanted to admit to being homosexual. Just, I don't mean like heavy, but he was a big man in real estate, whatever he had his 3 years, just like his brother. That would be, why did I go here? So that would be on his mother's side. No, on his father's side. Sorry, because on his mother's side, it was the Smiths from Ireland. Why am I being taken there? Maybe they're trying to come from it. Because there was a lot of in the closet alcoholics, and the only one that was in the closet was the brother. All of a sudden, I got emotional. It was like the getting the showing you that the Trump family was, you know, that's why people are actually seeing what resembles the head news. Because Donald Trump's mother, she was, and I don't know if it was the pills, the alcohol, the stress and depression, and you would say yes, we bringing up Donald Trump, you would have to go through that. It was going on and happening before Donald was born. It was like somebody tried to close off the that because, it's like, that's not true. That's not true. We're sure about that. Because we're channeling the ancestors. And she would have agreed, yeah. So there's something in there with regards to Donald because I remember, okay, having a dream vision type thing. Like I didn't know why I was afraid to get into my ancestors with the address because it wasn't because something he had done or anything like that, but it was that spirit came, and it was like I was experiencing that event, but I had the vision for a dream. But it was like I was at that moment when it was happening, and I was getting that wasn't sure if it was a boy or a girl, but they were wearing the skirt. And the furry that my ex said about my lesbians, and I kind of went into a panic. And then I had another part of the vision where these two boys were kissing, and the father come and grabbed him and took him home and beat him while saying, "No son of mine is going to be a fucking thing." No. See, when you observe and then you take your dreams, because they're visions, you are, as fortune told, you are a prophet. And people say, oh, psychics are demonic. Take your fucking demonic psychic shit and shove it up your ass because they're fucking prophets. Oh, you're so disrespectful. Really? I'm the disrespectful one? Good done. Tara, who do you think you are? You're so weird. It's like, really? You're so great. You're so great. Born and raised. Gracie the beautiful. See, people believe that when they're talking about the divine feminine, it doesn't mean you look like a fucking girl. It means you've found that balance. You stepped out of the mommy and coddling and started teaching and guiding. It's not what they used to. There's my alien language again. Very secret about it being really bad. Don't like me because you don't understand me or because you're pissed off because I brought something forward. The spirit just took to that one. There's a whole bunch like you know, some things people will say, like, okay, it's like pushing through. Okay. Because I'm going through an experience right now where there is a wedding in the family and everyone got invited except for myself and one of my older sisters. Okay. And the older sister contacted someone. Okay. And asked about it. Well, the parent of the one that's getting married called and said that we were not invited because their son didn't know us, but everybody else like was invited. Keep in mind, same family. I was invited to a baby shower where I didn't even know. I knew my cousin, but I didn't know. So my sister called me. I wouldn't break bread with her because of something that I found. My sister called me and said, "Did you know, like, we weren't invited?" And I just told her, I said, "You know, don't worry about it. I already knew that wasn't. I already knew that was going to happen anyways. And even had I got an invite, I wouldn't have went. And the reason why I wouldn't have went, was because of that very reason. But in all honesty, there was no real reason that they should not have invited my older sister. I come on here and speak up. She might speak about politics and she might be a little, loud sometimes, but she didn't deserve to be treated like that, considering she never treated me like that. Family may have their differences, but before you leave anyone out, you might want to have a hot look, but you don't care. That's just what I'm talking about. She's better off. So it pushed that out because it hurt her. It really was. And I can feel that because I could feel her when she was talking to me about it. Those family members ought to be ashamed of themselves because they think they know what family is and they don't. That's the truth. When you are a eccentric. Sure. Many other. It's not. It was never about gay. It was of being eccentric, 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 out of the ordinary, not something you see every day. So everybody makes something that's different as being big. Because I will say these ones that we talk about, like that's why the book really like I just said, you might want to have a look at yourself because you do the same fucking thing. It's just you yourself. Do I believe that transgender should be getting sex changes? No. Sometimes I go by energy, okay, because it's the bad apples that actually screw things up because that's the ones that are trying to create the they are the false, just like the false prophets. I watch so a lot of the transgender, like not a lot, but some of the transgender communities get right in people's faces. And we know that, the other side can appear to be aggressive. They're more in your face about the biblical stuff. And transgender, they are bringing forward their side of how they see people. It's like if it's harming someone, then maybe that's where you should reevaluate mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. Because what you're doing when you get at that state, you're going energy to energy, and that's why it's that phenomenon. Necesito cualquiera. See, a lot of the reason why like somebody just wanted to do it, like a co-host or something like that. The reason why I'm with you right now is because I feel energy and I feel at the same it's like feeling every spirit at the same time. So it's something that it's like words will come out and like that's you sort through it. And that's what it's like sometimes it feels like an insult, but don't take anything as an insult because it's not really directed towards you. It's directed towards the spirit that the two are going head to head in a debate, even if they are on the same page. They will still debate just for the sake of argument. Well, haven't you like It's like they'll say, well, doing that, you learn new things. But, you know, it's just one energy against the other. And there's really none of that real understanding behind anything because of experiences and it being pushed in each other's faces. You're getting, excuse me, you're getting that. It's like you're tapping each other. So it's like you're going like that. And then when you break through, it's like boom. And that's what you're getting right now with everybody's out protesting, but you're not listening to each other. One gets more aggressive and the other one like tells you you're a fucking sinner and you're going to hell. You know, that you're a murderer because you had an abortion. Seriously. So what you're actually doing is you're preaching about not judging, but you are judging just for those reasons. Judgment means being able to pass judgment on yourself so that you may understand others because you're able to look at yourself or learning to understand. That's the real school. Go ahead. It's like I watched Charmed earlier, and it was plain seen because people say about the fallen angels, demonized fallen angels. Fallen angels, you could see those as being okay, but you say, okay, so you're saying that because they fit in with the transgender community. You say about fallen angels, okay, but did they actually fall as you were led to believe? You say they fell because they were bad, but they actually fell because of what? You say lust, okay, but lust can be controlled, not as in sexual activity, okay? So it's that part of you have ranks, right? You have levels. So in this series, they have the tribe, they have the avatars, they have demons, they have vampires, they have bunch of different demons, elders, white lighters. They have the titans. They have a whole lot of what you have learned from history. And the how am I explaining this? We're taking Leo because Leo was first a white lighter, and then he became an elder. Okay, the elder is the ones that the white lighter answer to get advice from. Leo took the side of the avatars because he thought he was making a difference, but it was mostly a little like direction, where any sign of conflict and people get passionate, they just all of a sudden vanish, okay? Causing a disruption in the system. Okay, so then you have the demons and the elders. Okay, that's the word. Okay, the what you would class kind of as right and the left. People start okay, to the point where you're okay. People say that we're in an oil world or we're in like different fucked up relationships. But then they're sitting there and they're talking, they're fighting over Muslims, they're fighting over Christianity, they're fighting over Catholic, Jewish. It doesn't matter. You're fighting over that, and everything is related to it, including people who are saying about the putting up the pride flags in the churches. Why don't the pride flags go back to 8? And then it puts everyone in there, not in a label aspect of it, but more in a harmonized way of what each color represents, which is the chakras within self, the levels within you. It's like there was a cartoon show, The Misfits. Well, that was the Titan, like the Titans and the Olympians. So they came up north, boy. Wait. So everything is just doing it. It's like if you sit back and you see history from your own perspective. Okay? See it how you see it, not from what other people told you how to look at it. Start by looking at your own with your ancestors. Because what you're seeing right now is a lot of what you were seeing when they first immigrated over to North America. It was much like, you could say a transgender community without the suit, or you could say a two-spirit community. And then one said, there's still some from over understood it, but then were the ones who didn't. So it was still at that time what you were going through, what your ancestors were going through then, is going through the exact same thing right now. People immigrants coming in, fighting over resources, making it look like the people were doing it to each other so that they would feud with one another. Meanwhile, the military, which a lot of the pirates came from the military. Look at Captain Hook and Blackbeard. They both originated from the Navy. So they were bringing their own people in to make it look like people. But she'll say that's wrong. No, it's not. So, no, I didn't get off track because the same thing, like I said, was going on. They were fighting the same as in Roman times. They were fighting for the same thing. So you continuously, you think you broke free of Rome. You just keep repeating it because there was a wrong that needed to be righted. That's why it keeps happening. And you can laugh at it. Seriously, put the pieces of the puzzle together, or live in chaos and keep throwing stones at one another and then saying you're holy. I throw stones at myself every day. I even used to allow people to throw stones at me. I call it junk rock. Got hit in the leg a few times, but hey. I am proud to say that. Are you jealous because you can't? Or because, you might think it's something that's so stupid? But yes, I am proud to say that. And I'm proud to say I got the scars to prove. Well, they're faded now, but I got the scars to prove it if you look close enough. But there were times like that. It's the same. Okay? I, I, I don't understand all the makeup. I don't understand this part of people identifying as a cat. Okay. Or a dog or an animal, a horse. I understand what they're experiencing in a sense, and that is their their ancient past. They've embodied mentally. And you'll laugh at that. Seriously. How's that any different to what you're saying about a transgender human? They have a brain, they have a body, but the human, I know you're saying the human believing they're an animal. It's like you, 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 you call it mental health issue, which I understand with regards to what you're saying here, because if your spirit doesn't understand what it's experiencing, then yes, it becomes a mental health. Okay. But it starts off as a spirit because mine went through this. Okay, when I was younger, I used to growl at people. And when I started going through this awakening, I was literally like, I was going around the house growling like an animal. And I was trying to get at eating raw meat. So It's being able to have them understand that and explain to the person what they're experiencing while they're feeling like this. Try to take them to a moment instead of judging them for what you're observing. People say I work in mental health. Really? Then please understand this so you can actually help the people. And when I mean help the people, is they're trying to, for them to be able to say it, you have to know how to ask them and give them forward to bring it. And, actually want to understand them. Yep, as you would want others to understand you. People say, I don't care if it doesn't make life easier for people do. There's the cartoons and stuff that you watch today that kids are exposed to and stuff like that. It has all kinds of subliminal messages in it with regards to God. It can be used as a program to say, your physical body could be separated from your mind, is what you say. Yes, it's like people speaking from both perspectives. It's like having that meeting, the one in the middle that can make sense of it and speak the language of others so that they too can make sense of it. There's too much corruption in the system right now to see everything turning out fairly. Yeah. Sorry, I got to turn this up. Oh, I carry it. Up there. I'm playing with the like very hypnotizing. Holistic way. Beautiful voice. Now, what ended up happening there, okay? Because I believe that everything comes when it's meant to come, because I was talking about the 1750s and beyond, okay? And it that song was about the Underground Railway, okay? And the Underground Railway, it was it was once used for really nefarious reasons. It was like running through maze and chase. So it was being used for two reasons. Sometimes it was they liked to chase, and that is how men had gone missing. You can laugh what you want, but your ancestors were some of the ones that were building the tunnels, and it didn't matter whether you were on the American side or the Canadian side, because they were coming from Ireland and Scotland and things like that, and they were landing in Sherbrooke. So it's like once upon a time, it was the world made of it. Okay, same type of thing, same type of men. Okay, there was a baby being born. The baby was being born. The evil queen put a curse on the kingdom, and the kingdom was taken to a world, lovely world, and everyone forgot who they were, and they just kept repeating the same day. Nobody got old. The only one that was the child that got sick. One day I was watching and it had a name written on it, and it was the real name of the evil queen. Because certain things like that, I take and I look at it. People say, "Well, you overanalyze it." No, I actually understood what it meant. It's like the evil queen is the opposite of that part, the other part of yourself. Okay, so if you're feminine, you have your queen, and you have the opposite polarity of your queen. And then, okay, so the queen, she was just different versions of herself. She looked the same. Only one part of her was, I guess, what you would perceive as good, and the other was evil. Okay, so she had that separation, and she crushed the evil heart. But the evil don't go away. It just tries to transmute. So in that, she had to end up going up against herself. Okay, but there was okay, Jekyll and Hyde. Okay, Jekyll and Hyde. They were two versions of one, but they looked the same because they were the ultimate hero. Okay, the spirit is the twin. Okay, the ego. There are two separate versions of self. You have the one that looks weaker, a weaker man, and the one that looks like a more dominating, more like the warden. Okay, so Jekyll made the solution. Hyde separated from Jekyll, but Hyde was the one that fell in love, and the Jekyll was jealous because she was in love with, I guess, he was the darker side, but he was more. She wasn't. She was her more pure. It was more of a connection. So he got jealous. This is in the series. This is what happens. Like, that part of you wants. It's like the person wants to see this side of you and not that side. Okay. So if you are empowered, they don't want to, and they don't want to see you empowered. They want to make you appear weak. That version of you. Now, if we see that. So in order for them to do it, they had to, if one got unaware, then the other one would do it too. It's like almost like they say the doppelganger effect. Okay, it's the parallel worlds. They're not from the world. They're from another world and they're walking through worlds, the same as you. And I know that just fucking said people for a loop. But that's the neurodivergent community, which is the queer. Okay. See, if you really looked at each other, okay, everybody has, right? It's a part of we're all queer in our own way, but sometimes some of them are uptight with sticks up their noses. Promiscuity, no. Promiscuity, been there. Yes, I can, because at times I felt like I had the dysphoria. Sometimes I felt like I was like, supposed to be a boy. I would stand and try to pee like a boy. Maybe it was that part of me that was like that. Parts of me felt like, going and being with women. Never wanted to change my body because it's not how you look, it's the way you I choose to see beyond the surface, beyond what's put in my face. That judge a situation myself. It's like putting out outside influences so you yourself can make a judgment. You don't have to judge yourself before judging others. And boys are fucking right. Especially if you're, or if you just automatically focus on the cover, which is many people. There are some people in the transgender community that I do get upset. But like I said, I feel the energy, and it's like sometimes it's almost like a spirit is having a memory when it looks at certain looks. If something looks familiar to them, it's that part of like you say it's spirit sees through you. So if spirit sees through you, then maybe it's not always really action, but it's like spirit is experiencing that feeling. And that's what we're there to help them understand. Well, you're going to understand what it's experiencing. because that's where, if you don't understand the situation, what ends up happening, you fist fight about it. Fist fight is like, it's like the protest. Sometimes those people do come around to the house because I've watched them coming around to the house. But that's where the get in the head comes from. Because sometimes you're just going to instigate instead of going to, actually, you don't want to understand it because, what maybe you are, or maybe you're actually homosexual yourself and just not admitting to it. And that's what really pisses you off. Because it's not part, when men are, when people are watching porno, because it's not just men who watch porno, women watch it. I watched it years ago. Don't know that as I got older, what do you do? But when you're watching, what exactly, what part of that movie are you getting aroused from? It doesn't make you gay. No. What point am I trying? It's because I was watching this thing, okay, and they were saying that on it, they were saying that a group of men will sit around and watch porno and jerk off together, not because they're attracted to one another, but it's a macho thing. That's what this guy said on his video. So I was told that in the military, men will all get in a room and they'll watch porno on the show. But they didn't jerk off to it, but it's like, okay, it's when that's happening, are you worried about whether somebody else having fantasies while they're sitting next to you? Or are you having any fantasies? I'm not saying everybody's gay, okay? I'm saying that when you're a child, they say about children, okay? Children are curious, okay? They are curious to an extent. Certain things that they exhibit are something beyond their age, okay? Because, parents watch, okay? Sometimes the kids, they see it, they have questions, but questions go unanswered. They become curious as to what they were observing. It's like when a child gets a hold of a porno magazine. People would be able to, like back years ago, the men would just leave the porno magazines in the bathroom open. So the kids would go in there and they would become curious to what they were seeing. So when children are exposed to different forms, okay, because there's a section, but when children are exposed to sex, they question. So each time we get an awful question from the children when we do push away, and then we push the other stuff away as if it is a dirty sin. Because let's say your child goes through and asks you questions with regards to the theory. How do you answer? Do you know how to answer them other than saying, well, that's wrong? Because maybe what they're doing is they're actually coming to you and saying, oh, I just kind of experimented with this. Because no, it's not really, I mean, health class, yes, but as, as far as like being the mommy and daddy with regards to sexual education, that's not a parent, including with regards to the, it's up to the parents. Parents need to educate themselves because it is something that you but you're doing better for your child and you feel like the school is and sometimes they do interfere where they shouldn't interfere. You should be saying, hey, I think that, instead of it being a class for the children, it should be a class for the parents, guardians, and anyone who wants to go. It's like you go to a circus, right? Why do you go to a circus? It's entertainment, right? They're in the tights and everything. They're in the makeup. So it's okay to see them in a circus, but you don't want to see them out in public. It's like that movie Cinderella, the 2021, when the son says, when the prince says to the king that, we can't keep the actors in locked up. They'll starve. Yes, certain movies, certain series, and things like that, because I see how it relates to the different versions of the elements. Because everyone they're living in this reality, but they're seeing it from a different perspective, or they're going Okay. Sometimes it's a hard decision for people to make. But I was going to say something. Okay. Are the same people that come forward with this for this stuff are you advocating to shelter and food and what have you for the people in the country? Because that's a big reason what's happening with abortions. I mean, people's not ready, they don't want. I think my ex-husband told me that now China is doing something with they're banning birth control or something like that because they wanted to stop from having children. No, I've never had any, but I did. And they took me those. But I don't hold it against them. And I guess I could. So, I don't know. I was gonna play some videos, but I think I explained a lot of what the videos were because it was a lot of Charlie Kirk. Uh, maybe or something like that. I don't know. There was one she said that, and I read it myself, that, it's accepting everyone. As long as the lifestyle is not hurting others or bringing harm to others. Yeah, I heard myself and I understood myself too. It's like when you have, okay, you have a threesome, gay threesome, a lesbian set, or bisexual, understand each other before you do it. Because I think you did that and you destroyed the relationship. That's what mature is. I mean, mature in a relation. I'm not saying you're immature. You better all be over 18 because a lot of profanity. The mouthpiece is speaking. That was weird. And the big head calls. But I'm gonna get going anyways. Before that, I was gonna say I was going. But you know, I'm just I know clap, bringing it forward and saying sit and actually speak the other person's language. Or not. But that being said, it's almost one way to do this is this probably for the next once all the big road breakers, you can put yourself here, be true kind to yourself, be true kind to others, and spirit of these things. It's seeing them as versions of yourself. Have a great night.